Hey, Mr. Atkinson here. Happy to present at this second PTO WEBCAST, January 2019, and incredibly excited about this topic, kids and media use. I hope that whether you're watching this live here at our general PTO meeting or at home at some point, that you really take a lot away from this presentation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So here at Cherry Tree, we are a Common Sense Media certified school. And we're going to talk in more detail about that later. But I mentioned that at the front of this presentation because I want you to know that as parents, we find this topic incredibly important. We want our kids to be productive digital citizens in this world, and we want them to be able to think critically about the media that they come in contact with, that they have thoughts and ideas and safeguards in place in regards to how they act online, how they protect themselves in general online. And so this topic we are passionate about at Cherry Tree, and we want that passion to kind of overflow into your family life, and that you as parents think thoughtfully also about safeguards and media in your own home. And so, again, we hope today that you get some practical tips and time to reflect on just media use in your own home and media use with your children.
There's nothing more fascinating than watching a child grow and learn. Early development is a time of incredible discovery and curiosity. And as a dad of two daughters, I know that if you blink, you've missed something. Not only do kids undergo incredible physical growth, but their brains change dramatically too, forming new connections and rewiring repeatedly throughout childhood.
Depending on your child's age, you're probably keeping an eye out for milestones around things like gross and fine motor skills, speech and language development, cognitive development, and social skills. Kids of all ages need a variety of experiences and personal connections to grow. But what about media and technology? What role should they play in the kids' development? That's an important question for parents to consider.
Think about the TV shows and personalities that made an impression on you as a kid. The musical Muppets of Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers and His Classic Questions, or the catchy lyrics of Schoolhouse Rock. These pioneering programs recognize the importance of actively engaging the viewer. But today, screen time goes way beyond just television. Mobile devices give kids 24/7 access to media, and not everything out there is educational. That said, media and technology can support your child's growth when used wisely and integrated thoughtfully.
21st century learning is not about what to learn, but rather how to learn. In encouraging lifelong learning, many educators categorize these skills into what they call the 4 C's: communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. There are tons of ways to explore and connect with the world around us. And today's kids can learn teamwork skills and make connections outside their immediate circle. They can work and play together in innovative ways. They can become an author, a musician, even an artist, all with a click of a button. And they can share their work literally across the world.
While games and apps shouldn't be considered replacements for old school activities, some of them can get kids off the couch and moving their bodies. Digital devices can also enhance learning with visuals and audio support.
Adaptive technology can support learners with particular needs by allowing for targeted, individualized learning.
And besides the fundamentals of the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, media can highlight positive social interactions, like cooperation, or how to identify and express emotions.
And finally, some games can even help kids with problem solving, reasoning, and even logic.
Our children are digital natives. They'll never know a world without screens. So how can we best prepare them for a media-filled world, whether in school or in life? How can we help them harness the power and potential of technology? The key is a healthy relationship with media.
So it's never too early for parents to consider the following questions. When do I introduce media and devices? What's the right balance of screen time and non-media activities? Where can I find age-appropriate and high-quality content? And how can I teach digital literacy skills and digital citizenship?
Remember, you're the expert. You're the best model and teacher for your child, and you don't want screen time to replace real face-to-face interactions. So get creative, have fun, and find ways to enhance your relationship with your kids by exploring, discovering, and learning together. And if you need us, we're here to help.
So Common Sense did a study in 2017 that showed some pretty interesting data and trends in regards to media usage in 0 to 8-year-olds and devices at home. And so you can see from the graph 2011 to 2017, an incredible trend and increase in just devices at home. And so now in 2017, again, I would say that this is probably even higher. 95% of all homes had a smartphone in the home. 78% of all homes had a tablet in the home. And 42% of all homes, kids 0 to 8, had their own tablet. And again, this is just general data. This is not referring to Carmel or Cherry Tree, but just nationally. And so this may be higher in certain places even. And so quite an interesting trend in regards to devices available in the home for kids 0 to 8. And then this is part of that same study, looked at screen media use by device, 2011 and 2017, comparing the 2 years. Among 0 to 8-year-olds, the proportion of screen time spent with each device. And so if you look at the trend closely here, you can tell that that darker blue was a mobile device. And so in 2011, only 4% of media use time was used on mobile device. And now in 2017, I would argue this is probably even higher now. 35% of media use time was on a mobile device, and that was kids 0 to 8. The big difference here in that time frame too is you can see that TV media use went down even by 8% or 9% is rather drastic. And so quite interesting data there. And that media use on mobile devices continues to be on the rise in kids 0 to 8. And then this was screen media use by device and age. Again, this is just a breakdown of the average amount of screen time spent daily with each of those devices. And this is in 2017. So you can see in that 0 to 8 range, which is that first column, the total screen media time on average per day was 2 hours and 19 minutes. And with 48 of those minutes being on a mobile device and 58 being on a television screen. Again, I'd say these numbers continue to change and mobile device time continues to go up. And so some very interesting trend data to see. So this particular piece of data comes from the Pew Research Center, and it looks at percentage of U.S. adults who use at least one social media site. And so very interesting when you look at the span of just 12 years, how that's changed, going from almost 0% to close to 80% of all adults using at least one social media site. And so we know that media continues to change, and that device usage and technology continues to change even in our homes and our families. And so all of this is incredibly interesting data that, again, I think it just solidifies the importance of our job as educators and as parents to really stress digital citizenship and be proactive about how we approach media usage. And so this is very interesting. Parent concerns about media in 2017. This is among parents of 0 to 8-year-olds, those who are very or somewhat concerned about each topic as it relates to their child's use of screen media today and in the future. And you can just see parents are concerned. And so when they think about media usage that their kids are involved in, they're concerned about topics like violent content and the amount of time spent with media and the nature of the media in general and advertising that's there. And so, yes, parents are concerned about this, but oftentimes, at least in my world, I've noticed that parents don't always know how to approach it. They don't know maybe the different features that are out there to put safeguards in place. And so again, hopefully today you get some practical tips that you can reflect on and consider putting in place also in your own home to address some of these concerns that you also may share.
In our home, we have two TVs, an iPad Mini. We have two Leap pads. My husband and I each have a cell phone.
We have 3 TVs, 2 laptops, 4 iPads, and 2 cell phones.
2 smartphones, 1 iPad, 1 Samsung tablet, 1 smart TV, 1 Google Home, 2 old school TVs.
In our home, we have a television, an iPad, and 2 smartphones.
My kids probably spend 3 hours at least a day.
Maybe 4 to 6 hours a day.
1 to 2 hours.
40 minutes to 1 hour.
She likes to watch things on YouTube.
She really loves Minions, and she really loves Moana.
They play a lot of games.
Sometimes he goes on Netflix.
Even Elijah, he knows the iPad and knows how to swipe.
I think devices and media have definitely changed parenting. It's enabled us to be able to do things like my husband and I sleeping in.
I'm a single parent, and the phone has become a way for me to occupy her when I'm trying to cook, when I'm commuting, when I need to take a shower.
If he follows the rules, then he gets iPad time.
There are times when the boys acts up, and just recently we took their iPads away for a month.
I do have concerns that, you know, with things like SpongeBob, there's definitely violence.
Even commercials nowadays, like my eldest would ask, you know, why are they dressed that way? Or,
He was just like going to YouTube, but the stuff that he was being suggested to watch were completely inappropriate for his age.
I absolutely think that there is educational value to digital media. One of the shows actually that my kids have been really into is Wildcrats, and my daughter knows more than I have ever known about animals from watching that show.
When he was little, we used the bilingual apps so he could learn Spanish and practice. I recently started using some coding websites.
there are times when they would ask about, you know, what city, where's Egypt? And so I'd use my app to show Google Earth, and then we'd zoom in to show Egypt.
In terms of using TV time as social time with him, we all do a Friday movie night. I noticed that after the movie's done, he wants to talk about the movie and he wants to kind of relate what he watched.
He really likes having me or my husband play with him, and so we frequently will play together.
We have a competition. Me and Nathan is one team, and my wife and Ezekiel is another.
What is that? I try to read with her every night. She has a couple of favorite books that she's gotten to the point that she's memorized them, so she can sort of read them to me.
As my kids get older, I really hope that they will learn how to use media responsibly.
That he uses media to learn new things.
And my hope is that they know the value of the outside world, that you need to go out.
Most of all, I hope that she's happy.
So just want you to spend some time in reflecting with those around you. What is media use like in your home? And what are some of your own media use concerns that you have? So we're going to just take some time for you to turn and talk to people around you. And again, this is being played live at our PTO meeting, but it's also going to be available to those out there to watch at any point. So if you're watching from home on Facebook or via YouTube, take some time on your own just to reflect on these questions. Maybe take some time to write down your responses so you have them somewhere and you can refer back to them. But again, what is media use like in your home, and what are some of your media use concerns? Okay, so hopefully you've had enough time to reflect and share just some conversations with those around you or at home. Time to reflect. And so I want to just bring up a technology at Carmel Clay School. So we are currently a bring your own device district at the discretion of the teacher. We do believe in one-to-world, and we're continuing to increase the availability and access to mobile devices and supplementing our current BYOD setup. In addition to BYOD, we have multiple static computer labs, plus mobile laptop carts. Mobile devices were increased this past year to now be at least one device available for every 2 students. And we will continue to see the amount of devices increased. And so we have lots of great internet filtering here. It applies to all devices that are on our CCS network and BYOD devices that connect to our CCS network, which we do ask the kids to do. So they log in if they do bring a BYOD device with their user name and password into our Wi-Fi network, which again provides that internet filtering on the BYOD device also. So what is digital citizenship exactly? What does it entail? Well, it entails the ability to stay safe online, protect private information, respecting self and others, standing up to cyberbullying, and balancing time on and offline. And so as part of the Common Sense education curriculum, there's various units that we teach centered around topics such as internet safety, privacy and security, relationships and communication, cyberbullying and digital drama, digital footprints and reputation, self-image and identity, information literacy, creative credit, and copyright. And so in regards to these topics, it's incredibly important that our kids start to learn this at a very young age. When I hire people, and I'm sure that most people in the professional world, when they're hiring individuals to be a part of their organization, one of the first places they go is to the potential hiree or the candidates' social media pages. They begin to look at their own digital footprint. And so we talk about the fact that, our digital footprints matter, that when we do something online, it doesn't just go away, but what we do online, just like what we do, non-virtually, those things matter. Our reputation matters. And so we consider and think about those things and help kids reflect on those things. So what does the law say about children and media use? And so there's a couple of laws that I'm not going to go into a ton of details about this, but you can make note. And if you want to look up some of these things later, you certainly can. If you want a riveting night of law reading, and that could be some of your thing, you can check some of these laws out. And so COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act. CIPA is the Children's Online Protection Act, and FERPA. So I think the big gist of some of these laws that will continue to be debated as media use continues to increase with students and kids in general is that typically you'll see a lot of people and companies change terms of service based on these laws. And so CIPA and COPPA often say, under 13 years old, data and information protection. And so you will see that. So that's just an important thing to note. And again, you can look more deeply into those laws if you would like. But just to kind of show you an example, the terms of service that companies use, they get buried in a lot of lawyer speak down in websites. And so you have to actually be very diligent about finding these things in websites. So you'll see terms of use links in websites, privacy policies, children's online privacy policies. And so you got to read those. It's really important. There's a reason that these protections are in place. There's a reason that companies develop these policies in terms of use. And so lots of people don't know the terms of use for certain services, especially social media. So Instagram, for example, it says in their terms of use, you must be at least 13 years old to use the service. In Snapchat, it says no one under 13 is allowed to create an account or use the services. And so just be considerate about reading the terms of service. And I know as you have those conversations with your kids about different apps that they're using, Again, this is something that as a parent you should be aware of, is just those terms of services with particular apps and services that are out there. So Common Sense Media provides some excellent resources. So when you go to their website, you can actually find movie reviews where they tell you different content that is in those particular movies. It tells you a particular age where this movie might be okay to see, not okay to see. It talks about content in books, whether or not this book is applicable in regards to just the social emotional content to particular age groups. It reviews video games, apps. This is a go-to resource for parents and educators to think about the exposure of different media for our children. And so I use this personally as a parent all the time. If we're going to have a movie night at home, or we're going to go out to the movie theater to see a movie and we've got a movie in mind, one of the first places I go to consider whether or not we're actually going to watch that movie is Common Sense Media. And so I kind of can see the breakdown of different content that's in that movie and make a decision that jives with my beliefs in parenting in regards to what I'm going to do with my kids. And so, again, this is an excellent resource. So if you are not familiar with Common Sense Media, I just encourage you right now to stop the presentation and spend some time going there. Download the app on your phone, go check the website out, and bookmark it. Make it a favorite, and so that you can really use this as a tool in your own house and with your family. So Google has another really great resource. It's called Be Internet Awesome. And you can just Google Be Internet Awesome. And there's a video you can watch on there, but they have this interactive game that kids can play that actually teaches digital citizenship skills online via a very fun interactive game. And so this is about, I'd say around 2 years old, maybe not quite 2 years yet that Google came out with this, but they continue to strive to help people be more aware of being good digital citizens, online. At home, you want to protect your kids from things. One of the things that you can use is a DNS. And so OpenDNS is a free DNS that can be used where you can set up shields for adult content and block adult content. And so this just might be something to consider setting up in your own house. And when you go to OpenDNS, there's a setup guide that will walk you through how to actually set up the DNS on your network at home, so that when your kids are using Wi-Fi, it will block certain content once that network is set up. So that's OpenDNS. And then there are just all kinds of ways as parents that you can set up different family accounts with media. And with that family account setup, you can basically set up time limits for your kids or adults in your household. You can set up time of day limits. So you could say, okay, they can only actually access use of this device or the internet between the hours of 3 and 4. And you can...
Here are 4 things parents should know about the screen time feature in iOS 12. Number 1, once you set up family sharing, you can track kids' device use via weekly reports. Number 2, you can set time limits on specific apps or on device use as a whole. Number 3, using the downtime function, you can block device use at night or other times and choose apps that are always allowed. And number 4, you can still set content and privacy restrictions, but now those settings are found in screen time. For more tips, visit us at commonsense.org.
And this particular website has a ton of great resources for helping you connect safely online with your kids and think about media. They have a great podcast also that's available, media literacy for educators and families with young children, parents guide to Instagram. So lots of really, really good practical resources for parents. Netfamilynews.org, another really great resource, and I'll pop up here in a minute. Again, this just provides some thoughtful articles on thinking about media usage in your home and with your kids. And Smart Social Online, another one of those very similar websites that has lots of great digital citizenship resources for parents and educators. And so, again, I just would encourage you to check out some of these free resources if you're, especially if you're in a place where you're just struggling with this topic at home. And so, talks about just, video games and screen time addiction. This is a real thing. And so we want to be able to help parents navigate these waters too. Best apps for kids. So these are app content review sites. So if you're thinking about and considering downloading apps for your kids on iPads, you're looking for ones that have educational content or other things. Common Sense Media, where I would go to first, but also Best Apps for Kids is a great website. Geeks with Juniors and Best Kids Apps. So these are all websites that review apps for kids. And then online education resources. The Family Online Safety Institute is one of my absolute favorite resources for parents. And on that website, they have just a whole section on what good digital parenting is. Some really great videos and tips that you can watch and consider. And so, again, this is a wonderful, wonderful website. Topics like what parents need to know about Roblox. And so these are all great resources. NetSmarts is another one. And then CyberWise is just another online education.
Here are 5 simple steps to a healthy media diet. Number 1, choose the good stuff. Look for quality shows, movies, and games that are age appropriate. Number 2, watch, listen, and play together. It's a great way to talk with your kids about what they see and hear. Number 3, walk the walk. Use media the way you want your kids to use it. Put your device away while driving and at mealtimes. Number 4, keep a balance. Mix tech time with other activities. And number 5, watch the clock. Establish time limits and tech-free zones in your home. For more healthy media tips, visit us at commonsense.org.
Resource. Well, thanks. I hope that you found the presentation to be helpful and that you took away just a couple of good tips and things to think about media use in your own home. If you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you need help with anything, I'm here and happy to help also. Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, this is an incredibly important topic, and we take this very seriously at Cherry Tree. And we're glad to partner with you as we navigate this digital world together with our kids. So thanks and have a wonderful day.